So first is Department of Minnesota Zoo. Okay,
You want to wrap?
would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, we're going to, Mr. Chair, committee members, thank you. I'm John Frawley, Director of the Minnesota Zoo, and just we have a guest today with us. I'll let Donnie just do a quick, brief introduction, and then we'll send her back to the zoo.
Yep. My name is Donnie Crook. I am actually a naturalist here at the Minnesota Zoo, and I love my job. I actually go to schools, libraries, I do the show on site, and this is one of the great animals I get to work with. This is a striped skunk, one of the cool animals we can find right here in Minnesota. And these guys, they actually are one of the coolest animals because kids, they know that they smell. And that's about all that they know. So these guys, they actually are very cute also, and they love to eat lots and lots of different things. So we do have really cool animals right here in Minnesota that I think our zoo really does a really good job at presenting all of those amazingly cool animals. And I think this one is going to go right back to the zoo. Hopefully she'll go right back into her little crate here.
She's mowing down.
Yeah, one of the hardest parts of my job, I can't make this animal do anything. Through training, through other things like that, we can ask these animals to do things, and just like that, it works really well. So thank you guys for letting me bring my skunk here today.
Thank you. Is that all? Mr. Frawley, why don't you introduce yourself and proceed?
Yes, Mr. Chair, John Frawley, Director of the Minnesota Zoo. With me today, I do have Abby Mosier, our COO, and Missy McGrath, our legislative directors. But thank you and the committee for your time this afternoon. First thing, I just thought just a little refresher of the Minnesota Zoo. Our mission is to connect people to animals, like we just did, and the natural world to save wildlife. The zoo is no longer a new zoo. The zoo was established in 1978, almost 48 years old. We're the 5th largest zoo in the country at over 485 acres. Most zoos are less than 60 acres. We're 500 acres. Reminder of our operating budget, approximately one third of our funding comes from the state, 2/3 we raise ourselves through earned revenue, food, beverage, events, and so forth. So a little bit of a main street in ourselves that we have to raise 2/3 of our own revenue. I will say this year the zoo is on a record pace. After 48 years, the Minnesota Zoo is on record to have the highest attendance in its history, at 1.5 million visitors, reaching over 100,000 school kids, and over 200,000 people are now coming to the zoo for free through our Free to Explore program, where if you qualify for general assistance, you now can come to the zoo free of admission, and over 200,000 Minnesotans have taken part in that. So it's nice to say that I think the Minnesotans are enjoying the zoo more than ever this year, after all those years. To our presentation today, Mr. Chair, committee members, we had specific questions that we were asked of you to answer, so we put these straight forward to give you your answers. Regarding the 2023 asset preservation, questions obviously, how much is spent or encumbered? How much of this is obligated in terms of a projects and planned in procurement or contracting? And what do you have queued up for completion? If you remember last session, the Minnesota Zoo had two critical emergency projects that after 50 years we had to address. One, and this was one of them that's for this asset preservation address. One, the Lakeside Plaza project is the main plaza around the entire center of the Minnesota Zoo's main lake. And this project pretty much answers all those questions. It's dedicated to this project. We have hired owners reps. We have begun initial pre-design, and we will direct all these funds to make sure we fulfill this Lakeside project. This project was critical because it was putting us out of compliance for safety and egress and access to the zoo, and we would have had been closed if we did not address it. So thank you for the support here. Regarding 2023 capital funding, we received 1.225. What is the project timeline? This was appropriation that addressed that second issue that we had, that second critical problem we had at the Minnesota Zoo, and that is we have a 50-year-old animal hospital that's not currently adequate for the maintaining support for the 5,000 animals that we have at the zoo. So that is put towards immediate design and planning for the animal hospital. And that is underway as we speak. We have gone through different phases of design. I'll share a little bit with you of that project today. Regarding the 2024 recommendations, what's the governor's asset preservation amount and what will it fund? Here's a list. Bridge, decking, safeties. I might start by saying the Minnesota Zoo has over $40 million of asset preservation. So there's a significant amount that's building over the last 50 years. But here's 4 categories of primary focus for us that would be used with this recommendation. Bridges and decking, obsolete HVAC, life support systems, roofs, safety concerns, roads, pathways, and parking lots. Follow-up question from the committee for the 2024 recommendations: will the asset preservation amount be expended? When will it be expended? One half could be obligated in the first 6 months. The rest will be obligated within a year. And all these projects could be completed in less than 2 years. Finally, the last question you asked of us, 2024 recommendations, not asset preservation, and that would fall into our critical concern of the new animal hospital need at the Minnesota Zoo. To cover that project, I appreciate a lot of the committee members and committee chairs that you all came out and saw the hospital in its current state. It's almost a 49-year-old hospital. It has not been modernized. It's inadequate in its current condition. It predates the opening of the zoo. No longer meets industry standards. Poses a lot of risks to both the animals and humans. And the animal hospital is a core product. Obviously, when you have 5,000 animals, an animal hospital is critical. A lot of our procedures right now are being done in the field. Well, a reminder of your visit, the outside enclosures are dilapidated. Loading dock is how we're getting these 5,000 animals in and out with all seasons, which is inadequate for a modern hospital and modern day hospital. And we're having critical system failures that PVC just recently broke we were having a Wolverine procedure, emergency surgery, and that blew up right during the procedure and busted in the middle of the procedure. So things like this are unacceptable. We need to have addressed. Moving forward, we do have initial designs for a state-of-the-art modern hospital. A hospital where all the animals and the patients thrive and are safe. The other thing about the designs and direction of this new animal hospital that we're proposing for the Minnesota Zoo is that we're going to build it for more than just the zoo. As you can see by this rendering, there's a window of kids looking into the treatment room. This whole hospital will be designed for Minnesota to be able to come be part of it. We'll invite high schools, colleges, visiting veterinarians, host conferences. So it will be a teaching hospital and really provide return on investment for all of Minnesota. One of the other things that I think this hospital is going to achieve is, you can see here, having mobility to go out and serve animals not only at the zoo, but we will be planning to support animals throughout Minnesota as needed, case by case. So what we're saying is in Minnesota, we don't need multiple exotic species hospitals. Here at the zoo, if we build this one right, with mobile units, we can go out and help other organizations. In that breath, we have worked around the state, meeting with our colleagues, starting at the University of Minnesota medical facilities, the veterinarian care, looking at entering into a partnership with the 200 students that are learning vet medicine at the University of Minnesota. We went up to Ely and visited our colleagues up there, Duluth, Milwaukeeton Tribe. All these facilities are excited and support this request, as we have multiple relationships with them in helping their animals and their collections as well. So once again, it'll be a teaching hospital that supports a lot of organizations throughout the state. finally, I think one of the biggest things I think a lot of you probably realize is that there's a huge veterinarian crisis across the country, but it's hitting Minnesota really hard. Lack of veterinarians, both in dogs, cats, but a lot of ag vets are, there's huge shortages. This hospital will help to attract, educate, and retain more veterinarians here in Minnesota. So it's a critical need for the zoo, for us to have a core part of our business. But we've also gone forward with this design to make sure it really serves more than just a zoo. And it's something that will help Minnesota across the board. With that said, Mr. Chair, committee members, it is a $35 million bonding request. And we thank you for the planning money that has brought us to where we are today. The other thing I can add, I think I've met with a lot of committee members. The zoo also is launched a private capital campaign. And so parallel to the bonding session, we will be trying to raise private dollars to bring that $35 million request down. I can say to date, we just received a $2.5 million request, so that's a good step. And we have a $5 million ask that looks promising. But we will be working right through session to bring that request down and working with you and the committees to keep you updated on how successful that private campaign can be through the session. So that's our goal, is to try to, we know you have a lot of requests. This is an emergency, and we're trying to address it with all means possible. So with that, Mr. Chair, I could open up for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Frawley. Any questions from members? Representative Grouse.
I just only have one. How did the surgery turn out for that Wolverine?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. We were able to make that surgery happen. We have a little bit of backup equipment just because of the situation we're in. We're very careful. But it's those types of things that we're trying to avoid in the future. You know, being a world-class zoo, and people love the zoo, but with, you know, all it takes is an accident, an animal's life, an incident with a human. This is the liability that's in front of us right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's one critter I can admire, it's a Wolverine.
Wolverine.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Frawley.
Appreciate it.